Hello Sunflowers, welcome or welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about 10 things I think you need to know before attending your first Renaissance fair. This is easily one of my most requested videos. I get so many messages and comments from you all telling me how excited you are that you're going to your first Renaissance festival and that you just don't know what to expect. So I've been doing some thinking and I put together a list of what I think are the 10 most important things that you need to know before going to your first Renaissance festival. If you also love going to Renaissance festivals, please leave anything that you think I missed in the comments below. And honestly, there's so much to talk about when it comes to going to Renaissance festivals. So we're going to start with just 10 things that I think are really important to know, but we might have to extend this into like a whole series. I think the most common thing y'all ask me about Renaissance festivals, and the part that I want to spend the most time on today, is about what to wear to a Renaissance festival. And since I think that's going to be the longest section, I am going to put that at the end of the video. If you take your mouse and you scroll it along the bottom of the video, you'll be able to see the different chapters that are labeled for each of my 10 tips. So if you just want to know about the outfits, you can scroll to the end or just watch to the end. All right, is everybody cozy? Everybody got a drink? Everybody got their candle lit? Grab a fuzzy blanket if you want to, and let's talk about some Renaissance festivals. First thing I want to talk about when it comes to a Ren fair are your shoes. I know I said we're gonna wait until the end to talk about the full costumes, but y'all, the shoes are so important that I think they need to go first. A lot of Renaissance fairs require a lot of walking, and it's usually not just like simple walking. It'll be like over different types of terrain depending on where your Renaissance fair is. You see this? You guys see this? So a problem that a lot of people run into are that they wear shoes that might look super cool and maybe go really well with their outfit, but they might not be the most comfortable shoes, especially for walking in different terrain. Some of y'all actually might have found me from my Renaissance fair shoe video that kind of took off last year. So I decided to Ren fair up my Crocs. I usually go to the Renaissance fair as some form of a druid, and so I got light green Crocs and I covered them with moss and snails and rocks and just made them super, super magical and whimsical. And y'all, I have been so comfortable at every single Ren fair that I have gone to in my Crocs. I think you can do this with whatever type of shoe is comfortable for you. If you are a tennis shoes girly, take your tennis shoes, Ren fair them up however you want. I have seen people cover their shoes in felt, in moss, in like a fake leather on the outside, or you can just also wear tennis shoes if that's what you want to do. Just know that when you go to a Renaissance fair, you're gonna be walking, and if your feet hurt, you're gonna hurt. So just take care of your feeties and wear some comfortable shoes. And when you're choosing your shoes, try to look at the terrain of your Renaissance fair. Some are in the woods, some are in fields, some are on dirt paths, which if it rains or has rained recently will be very, very, very muddy and slippery. I think the only time my Renaissance fair Crocs kind of failed me was last year at the Michigan Renaissance Festival. We got so much rain. And the Michigan Renaissance Festival is massive. It is gorgeous, and it has all these dirt paths that wind through almost like a town that is built for the Renaissance Festival. And y'all, those paths, when they are muddy, are very slippery. So I had to be very, 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 very careful not to slip and slide in the mud. But generally speaking, my Renaissance fair Crocs have been perfect for going to Ren fairs. So whenever you are planning to go to your first Renaissance festival, just take a look at the terrain, take a look at the weather, and think about, what does comfortable footwear mean for you? If you had to walk a few miles in a pair of shoes in muddy weather, what kind of shoes would you wear? Think about that whenever you're choosing your shoes for the Renaissance fair. Number 2 might be kind of a difficult one, but try never to shop at the first place you stop. There is so much incredible shopping at Renaissance festivals, and a lot of the vendors even make their own items that they're selling, and it can be so tempting to just buy something at the very first booth you walk into. Now look, if you walk into that first booth and you see something that your heart is just absolutely set on and you're worried somebody else is gonna buy it, sure, go ahead and get it. But generally speaking, I personally like to set a rule for myself where I have to do one entire lap around the entire Renaissance Festival before I stop and buy something. And if you are going to a Renaissance Festival with the intention of shopping, I think it's good to bring a bag for the items that you plan on buying. In my experience with the Renaissance fairs that I've been to, they don't always give you a bag for your items, or if you do, it might be something like a small brown paper bag that's a little bit harder to carry around with you while you walk the fair. I had a funny experience with that last year at the Michigan Renaissance Festival. I bought these 2 beautiful sculpted handmade candles, and they put them in a brown paper bag. And then, like I mentioned before, we ended up getting a ton of rain at the Michigan Renaissance Festival, and the bag like started to disintegrate. And so I just had my candles, and I'm like, what do I do with these candles? So I actually ended up stopping and buying this beautiful handmade basket that you might have seen me carry around in some videos. And then for the rest of the day at the Ren Fair, I just carried around my candles and whatever else I bought in this basket. Tip number 3, trinket trading. Trinket trading is one of my favorite things about the Renaissance Fair. I don't know the origin of how trinket trading started at fairs, but trinket trading is basically where people will bring little bitty trinkets and they will trade it with other people at the fair for their little bitty trinkets. If you've seen any of my videos before, you know that I always bring tiny duckies with me to Renaissance festivals. Actually, I just always have tiny duckies with me anywhere, so if y'all ever see me somewhere, say hi and I will give you a tiny ducky. And trinket trading doesn't always have to mean that you're actually trading an item. Like, you don't have to get an item back to give someone an item. If I just want to say hi to somebody at a Ren Fair, like if I just love their outfit, I'll just walk up and be like, hi, I love your outfit. Would you like a tiny ducky? And I'll give them a tiny ducky. Or sometimes I might ask them, do you want a gift from the fairies? And if they say yes, I will give them a tiny ducky. Now, if you do think that you want to bring trinkets to trade or to give away at your Renaissance Fair, make sure that you check your Renaissance Fair's banned items list. I am not going to lie to y'all. I did not know that this was a thing until I got to the Tennessee Renaissance Festival this weekend. Y'all might have seen the video that I posted last week about how I was so excited for the first weekend of the Ren Fair and that I was making friendship bracelets for all of you guys. I made so many bracelets, and all of the bracelets have their own little ducky charm, and they're super magical and super whimsical, and they just look like fairies made them. So I get to the Renaissance Fair on Saturday and we check in and they check our bags, which is completely standard and amazing and safe. But this year, for the first time, they asked if we had any items that we're planning on trinket trading. And I said, yes, here's my little potion bottle full of duckies. Oh, and tiny mushrooms. I also brought tiny mushrooms this year. And I was wearing the friendship bracelets that I was planning on giving to you guys. And I didn't mention them as trinket trading because I wasn't planning on trading them. I was just going to be giving them away. And the person working at the fair asked, are you planning on trading the bracelets? And I said, oh no, not trading, just giving away. And they very kindly let me know that all jewelry is on the Tennessee Renaissance Fair banned items list for trinket trading, and I had to take the bracelets back to the car. For reference, this is the banned trinkets items list for the Tennessee Renaissance Festival. Please don't let this scare you away from the idea of trinket trading. Just do a quick Google search and see if your Renaissance Fair does have banned trinket items, and just make sure that you're bringing in something you're allowed to bring, because trinket trading really is just so magical, so much fun, and just a great way to engage with the Renaissance Fair community. And speaking of engaging with the Renaissance Fair community, tip number 4 is don't be afraid to talk to people. In my personal experience, the Renaissance Fair communities have just been so incredibly warm and welcoming groups of people. I've talked to so many incredible, interesting, creative people at Renaissance Fairs. People will be wearing the most exquisite, incredible outfits that you've ever seen. And I've had people ask me, can I take a picture of someone at a Renaissance Fair? And I think the short answer is, you just have to ask that person. Obviously, please don't take pictures of people without asking them or without telling them that you are taking pictures of them. But in my experience, if I have seen someone wearing an incredible outfit and I've gone up to them and said, I love your outfit, would you be willing to take a picture with me, or would you let me take a picture of you in your incredible outfit? Usually people say yes, and if they say no, that's okay too. Obviously, when you're approaching anybody at the fair, please be kind, please be respectful, but definitely don't be scared to go say hi to people at Renaissance festivals. It is just such an incredible community. Number 5, let's talk about the weather. Most Renaissance festivals are outside. Every fair I've ever been to has been outside. Are there any indoor Renaissance festivals? If there are, let me know. But I think it's safe to say that usually when you're going to a Renaissance festival, you are at the mercy of the weather. I have been at Renaissance festivals where it's storming. I have been at Renaissance festivals when it's freezing. I have been at Renaissance festivals when the sun is beaming down and I forgot my sunscreen and I end up sunburned so badly that I actually still have tan lines from a Ren Fair from over a year ago. I know it can be bulky, but I do think that bringing an umbrella with you to a Renaissance fair is probably a good idea. Whether you're using it as an umbrella or a sunbrella, it can definitely just come in handy. Last year, after I got so sunburned at the Indiana Renaissance Fair, I ended up making a Renaissance Fair umbrella just to keep me out of the sun at the Tennessee Renaissance Fair. I still think my Renaissance Fair umbrella might have been the prettiest thing that I have ever made. Sadly, I learned the hard way that when you use that much fake plants and moss and hot glue, it makes your umbrella really, really, really heavy, and that makes it kind of hard to carry around. So if you're looking for something to carry with you for the sake of sun protection, I might recommend something more like a parasol. But if you do want to make a magical moss umbrella, I also highly recommend it. It was quite beautiful. Number 6, while we're on the topic of taking care of yourself at the Renaissance Fair, Make sure that you stay hydrated and bring water in if your Renaissance fair allows it. Now, not all Renaissance fairs will allow you to bring in your own water. This is going to be different depending on which Ren fair you're going to, so just do a quick Google search and see if your Ren fair allows you to bring in water. And if they do, bring water, because like I've mentioned a bunch of times before, you are going to be walking and you are going to be probably in the sun. You're going to be sweating, you're going to be enjoying yourselves, having a good time, probably laughing and dancing, singing, enjoying yourselves. Stay hydrated, friends, and drink lots of water. Now, tip number 7 is especially important if your Renaissance fair does not allow you to bring in outside food or water. Bring cash. Every Renaissance fair is going to be different, but at a lot of the fairs that I have gone to, the food and drink vendors do not accept card and you have to pay in cash. Once again, this is going to be different Ren fair to Ren fair, so do a quick Google search, check out your Ren fair. But bringing cash to a Renaissance fair is always a good idea. I know for sure the Tennessee Renaissance Festival food and drink vendors are cash only. The drink and food prices are going to be different depending on what Renaissance fair you go to, but do be prepared for drinks to maybe be a little bit more expensive than you expect. Like at the Tennessee Renaissance Festival, where the drinks were cash only, one bottle of water was $4. So when you're going to a Renaissance fair, especially if they don't allow outside food or drink, just make sure that you bring cash and that you bring enough cash. On top of the drink and food vendors at some Ren fairs being cash only, there might be vendors that are cash only. I have seen that a couple times. It's not very common. Most of the booths that I've gone to do take card, but sometimes you'll come across a booth that is cash only. And a lot of the activities will be cash only. I think in my experience, all of the little activities that I've done have been cash only, whether it was riding a giant rocking horse or throwing daggers or archery or sifting for gold. I think most of the activities I've done at Ren fairs have been cash only. Once again, it's going to be different fair to fair, it's going to be different activity to activity, but if you are someone who wants to participate in these things like archery or axe throwing or what's the thing where you hit the hammer down and then the thing goes up and it hits the bell and goes ding. Those things you usually have to pay in cash. Speaking of extra activities at the Renaissance fairs, not all of them are things that you have to pay for. There are free things like musical shows and juggling and jousts. And that leads us into number 8. Get to shows early. Most Renaissance fairs will have like an itinerary that they give you whenever you get there, or an itinerary that you can ask for that will give you a list of all the shows happening throughout the day and what time they're happening. If there's a show that you know you want to see, get there early. These things really fill up. If you show up at something, especially like the joust, right on time, right when it's supposed to be starting, you're probably going to be standing all the way in the back of a crowd and you're not really going to be able to see the show. This is obviously going to depend on the size of your Renaissance fair and the popularity of the show, but get there early. If it's a show you really want to see, get a good seat, relax, and enjoy yourself. Oh, an extra little tip for going to shows is I like to get food before I go to a show that I'm excited to see. That way I can like sit down and watch the show and eat my food while I watch the show. And at a lot of Ren fairs, there's not like a ton of places to sit. Now there will be tables usually, sometimes there's picnic tables, sometimes there's like benches or just chairs, it depends on the Renaissance fair. But a lot of times I've grabbed food and then I look around for somewhere to sit and then all of the seats are full and then I end up just kind of like walking and eating the food, which is absolutely fine, especially when you're carrying around like a turkey leg and eating it. But it can be super nice to just have somewhere to sit and eat your food, especially whenever you're watching a show that you're really excited about. In my experience, all of the shows that I've gone to at Renaissance fairs have been free, but another good reason to bring cash with you is that at the end of the shows, there's usually an opportunity to tip the performers. So another good reason to bring cash. Renaissance fair tip number 9 is to buy your tickets ahead of time. Now you can absolutely just buy your tickets at the door if you want to, but I have 3 main reasons that I think you should buy your tickets ahead of time. Number 1 is that they're usually cheaper. I can't speak for every Renaissance fair, but once again, the Tennessee Renaissance Festival, if you buy your tickets ahead of time online, they are $28 a person, but if you wait and buy them in person at the door, they're $38 a person. So if you buy them ahead of time, you're gonna save $10. Reason number 2 to buy your tickets ahead of time is just, in my experience, it's been just way easier to walk in. Most Renaissance fairs will have like a place where you go and like maybe wait in line and then you buy your tickets and then you bring your tickets over and then you go through the other line to scan your tickets to go on in. But if you've bought your tickets ahead of time, usually you can just walk up to that second line, scan your tickets, and walk on in. And reason number 3 to buy your tickets ahead of time is a reason I don't think a lot of people think about, but Renaissance fairs do actually sell out. Most, if not all, locations will have like a maximum number of people that are allowed in. And if they hit that quota for the day, they just might not be selling any more tickets. So if you really want to go to the Renaissance Fair that day, especially if you've traveled to go to the Renaissance Fair that day, make sure that you get your tickets ahead of time to make sure that you can get in. I can't believe that we are already down to our last tip and the one that I have been most excited about. What do you wear to the Renaissance Festival? The short answer of what you wear to the Renaissance Festival is whatever you want. Do not be afraid to dress up as much or as little as you want. I have gotten so many comments from y'all saying that you want to go to a Renaissance fair, but that you don't want to dress up. Or maybe that you want to dress up, but that you're scared to dress up. And y'all, it just like breaks my heart. Like, you don't have to dress up to go to a Renaissance Festival. You can wear whatever you want. But if you want to dress up and you're worried about feeling weird or anything, y'all, this is not the place to worry about feeling weird. You can wear whatever you want to the Renaissance Festival, whatever makes you feel comfortable. Let's just say that you go and you want to wear like your jean shorts and your t-shirt, but when you get there you want to feel magical. You can buy things when you're there too to accessorize your outfits. This is a photo of me and Josh from 7 years ago at my first ever Renaissance Festival. I just wore jean shorts and a cute red shirt. And when I got there, I did break one of the rules and I actually bought a necklace at the first booth that I stopped at, but it was so cute and I still have that necklace. The little elven earpieces, and it was super hot out and my friend bought me a fan. It was so much fun and I felt super magical, and I realized that even though I was scared to dress up that first year after going, I just could not wait to come back the next year and dress up. And that's exactly what I did and what I've done every year since then. I know I just said to wear whatever you want, but if you do want to dress up, I want to talk about a couple things that you should not wear. I'm actually wearing a few things in this video that I would never wear at a Renaissance fair. Number one are these ears. Now you might say, Holly, you wear ears all the time at Renaissance festivals. I do, but not this pair, because this pair falls off of my ears all the time. I love how these ears look. I would wear them if I could, but I know if I'm walking around wearing these ears, they're gonna be falling off like crazy. So instead I wear my smaller ears that actually stay on my head. Number two is this crown. Y'all, this crown is absolutely stunning. I love it. It just doesn't quite fit me right. It kind of hurts my head. It falls off so easily. See, if I barely touch it, it starts to fall off. Oh, my ear just fell off. Look at that. So if you have something like these things that you're continuously going to be worried about falling off, don't wear them. You don't want to have to be worrying about this. There are plenty of ears, plenty of crowns, plenty of things that will fit just right, and you're not going to have to worry about them falling off whenever you're walking around. The next thing you should not wear or bring to the Renaissance Fair are family heirlooms or things that you just do not want to risk breaking, losing, getting muddy, any of these things. This is the crown that my grandma wore in her wedding, and she gave it to me because she knew that I loved going to Renaissance festivals and getting all whimsical and magical and dressing up. I've worn this crown in videos and in photo shoots, but I will not be taking this crown that means so much to me to a Renaissance fair. Same thing goes for if you have like a dress that's really long and beautiful that you absolutely love. Y'all, that thing is probably gonna get muddy. It's probably gonna get stepped on. It might get ripped. If you don't want to risk it, just don't wear it. But rather than that, y'all, I say dress however you want. I've had a lot of people ask me if they have to dress time period accurate to go to a Renaissance fair, and I take their question and I raise them an elf ear. At Renaissance fairs, I have seen medieval knights, and I have seen kings and queens and court jesters. I have seen elves, and I have seen dragonborn. I have seen wizards. I have even seen stormtroopers at Renaissance fairs. And I think it's all great. I think that this is such a beautiful and incredible and welcoming community. And if you want to dress up, I think that you should. Well, friends, I think that concludes the 10 things that I think you need to know before going to your first Renaissance festival. Once again, these things are all just my opinion based on my experience. If you have any tips for people about Renaissance fairs, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. And if you have questions about Renaissance fairs, please feel free to leave them in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer. I am by no means a Renaissance fair expert. I'm just a girl who likes dressing up like an elf and frolicking around in the woods and meeting other fun folk. If you're still here and you had fun in this video, it would mean a lot to me if you could take a second to hit all the buttons, do all the things. And if you're new here, I'm Auna. Welcome to the Sunflower family. I'll see y'all in the next one.